Right guys, so first off, I measured the centre of the radiator valve, get that pencil line on the wall, and that's your starting point. You can work from that then. Then once you've done that, you can pencil a level line across onto the wall just to mark that. From that, you need to get your new radiator bracket and hook that up onto the radiator. Then you can measure from the bottom of the rad to the bottom of the bracket. I think in this case about 45mm. So then you can go back over to your first mark you've done, and then mark that on the wall as well. Also, you need to measure the bottom of the rad. In this case, I think it was 25mm from the bottom of the rad to the centre of the outlet. Now you've got all three markings, you can go back over to the wall and mark it all up. So from this point, I know the bottom of the radiator now, so now I can go back up 45mm to the bottom of the bracket. I can just draw a level line across, making sure I go all the way across the bottom. Now, get your radiator, get it in roughly the centre of the two outlets. Then you need to measure an equal distance. So I think in this case, this radiator was about 45mm between the side of the rad and the centre of the pipework. Now we've worked out roughly centre, we need to mark the centre of the brackets that are already on the radiator. So mark them just with a pencil just on top of the rad, and then we can crack on the next bit. Here I just show you my pencil lines on the centre. Then you've got to transfer those pencil lines onto the wall. Try not to move the rad too much because you've already centred it between the pipework. Now pick up your level and just transfer those lines down the wall and try to match up with the line that you done earlier with the bracket, bottom of the bracket. Right. Bottom of the bracket, line it up with your bottom of the bracket line. Then you can mark your screw holes. Do this for both sides. Now we can get the hammer drill out I always use a 7mm drill bit and brown plugs just because you're holding up a heavy radiator, so it needs to be something quite substantial. When I'm drilling fresh plaster, I like to take the drill off hammer and then start the drill to drill the hole and then turn it back onto hammer, just so you don't crack all the plaster. Now get your brown plugs in, give them a gentle tap with the hammer just to make sure they're home. Now this is the important bit, make sure both brackets are dead level before you hang up the radiator. Make any adjustments if you need to, and then get that radiator on. I always use Loctite on my radiator valves. I find it far superior to PTFE. Now you can wind in your new radiator valve. I've got a ratchet spanner that's rad spanner, so it's actually quite handy. Customer didn't actually want to drain down at all, which I found a bit odd, so we had to reuse the old valves and just manipulate some of the pipework to get it onto the actual valve. Right, moving over to the other side, you can see me just manipulate the pipework just to get it onto the rad tail. Again, that's because the customer didn't want to drain down the whole system for some reason. Make sure you've double checked all your nuts. Again, make sure they're all nice and tight. Obviously fill up the rad, bleed it, job done.